I'm going to read our cross-reference for our Bible study, our Old Testament cross-reference. It comes from Isaiah 40. It says, 43, it says, 40, verse 3, a voice cries in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord, make straight in the desert a highway for our God. That is the cross-reference. But let's read a little bit before that and a little bit after that to get some context. In Isaiah 39, Isaiah the prophet, in verse 3, it says, Isaiah the prophet came to King Hezekiah and said to him, what did these men who just visited you say? And from where did they come? And King Hezekiah said to the prophet Isaiah, they have come to me from a far country, from Babylon. And Isaiah said, what have they seen in your house? Hezekiah answered, they have seen all that is in my house. There is nothing in my storehouses that I did not show them. Then Isaiah said to Hezekiah, hear the word of the Lord of hosts. Behold, the days are coming when all that is in your house and that which your fathers have stored up to this day shall be carried off to Babylon. Nothing shall be left, says the Lord. And some of your own sons who will come from you, whom you will father, shall be taken away, and they shall be eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon. Then Hezekiah said to Isaiah, the word of the Lord that you have spoken is good. For he thought, there will be peace and security in my days. So what's happening is King Hezekiah made a mistake, and he showed the temple, I believe the temple and all the treasures therein of Israel to the king of Babylon. And the king of Babylon lusted after those things and is going to come and defeat Israel to take their riches. And King Hezekiah thought, well, maybe they'll protect us as well. So this was not a good thing. So God just said that Israel will be exiled to Babylon. And that's the context of this John the Baptist cross-reference. It's a rebuke, but God says in chapter 40, verse 1, God tries to encourage his people even when they're under captivity. He says, comfort my people, says your God. Speak tenderly to Jerusalem and cry to her that her warfare is ended and that her iniquity is pardoned. She has received from the Lord's hand double for all her sin. A voice cries, in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord, make straight a desert and a highway for our God. For every valley shall be lifted up, and every mountain shall be made low. The uneven ground shall become level, and the rough places a plain. The glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. So in general, the context is, yes, Israel will be under captivity, but God will make things right. And the same thing was happening in John the Baptist's day. The nation of Israel was under tribute to the Romans, paying taxes to Caesar. And they didn't like that. That was just like being under the yoke of Babylon. That's exactly what happened in 500 BC. They were in 600 BC, the fifth century BC. They were paying taxes to a foreign country, and they didn't like that. So God says, I will bring you back from captivity. And God did come down. The voice in the wilderness did cry. John the Baptist did cry. Christ came. And God saved many of his people through having direct salvation and forgiveness of sin, just simply through the belief that God came down. That God came down and is the person of Jesus Christ. And that, unfortunately, those who rejected it, there were enough Jews who rejected it that the Romans totally destroyed the temple and they defeated them in a war, and then the Jews were dispersed among the nations. But eventually God brought them back. So that is the cross-reference to Matthew chapter 3, is Isaiah chapter 40, and specifically in 40 verse 3.